Welcome everyone. Today we have with us Varun Madrasa, co-founder of TijoriFinance.com. Most of you might be using Tijori Finance to research and discover stocks and analyze them better. Welcome here, sir. Welcome here, Varun.
Thanks. Yeah, you could just call me Varun.
Yeah. So, sir, my first question to you is tell us about your early life and education, and then take us back to the journey of starting Tijori Finance.
Yeah, so early life, I've been born and brought up in Bangalore, schooled in Bangalore, did my undergrad in Bangalore in electrical engineering. Worked here post my bachelor's in one or two places, kind of figured stuff out. Uh, Ended up going to Zurich to do my master's. I did a master's in mathematics, and yeah, uh, did that. And during this whole journey from say undergrad onwards, I was always into investing a bit, like started slowly and then the interest kind of compounded, and yeah, that's how I'm here today.
What was your inspiration to start Tijori, and how did you meet your other co-founders?
So all of us went to school together,
Oh,
so that's how I know them. So I know them from a very long time. uh Inspiration, I think it was more just we ourselves invest, so we just needed software like that. We weren't really it wasn't one moment, we just needed and we just made it, and it snowballed from there. So
when was this year when you started?
we thought about it around 2018-19. I would say 2019, the mid, we started taking it seriously and said, okay, let's build production ready software around it. So I would say maybe 2019, beginning or mid.
Fantastic, fantastic. Were you always into coding and other stuff, or you were in the management side of the journey?
No, so initially you end up doing most of the things, so nothing like that. But yeah, right now we focus more on running it and what next to build and how to build it and how to scale it and stuff like that. So it's a lot of things.
Fantastic,
There's no
fantastic,
one focus.
fantastic. Man. What was the initial start of the Jory Finance? What all the features were you launched it initially, and now how much have you scaled it?
Yeah, so our thing was that we wanted to structure unstructured data. So a lot of stuff like say the financial documents or the exchange filings or the shareholding patterns or which big investor buys which shares. All that is structured information which is there, and you can just put it in rows and columns. But our thing started with, we noticed that because we are more fundamental investing from that camp. Not from that camp, we understand that more. uh, the thing we notice is we spend most of our time in trying to get unstructured information. So if you think about we used to look at say HDFC banks, and just to get its market share in advances used to take us 20 minutes, and then try to update that every quarter, and then try to compare that to ICICI and SBI and see is HDFC actually gaining or losing market share. Was You can imagine it's an at least a 20-30 minute job, and then you end up tracking quite a few companies. So it was these small things which led us to think that let's try to bring some sort of structure to unstructured information. uh, so that's how we started. And so the initial features you asked, so the initial features were we just broke down the company's business into its revenue streams, its revenue segments by location, by product, by vertical, by raw material, and its operational metrics. So
Fantastic,
that's
fantastic.
all that was there in the initial.
Did you do all this manually, or you added some automation to it, semi-automation?
So the thing is, to do it manually is not feasible in a
Correct.
reasonable turnaround time. Like you would need, I mean, by the time, I think there are 3,000-4,000 companies out there, and then there are also many industry databases and stuff like that. So to put all that information in one place and make it comparable and standardize it and all that, doing it manually is not possible. So we've written a lot of code behind it of how to, like I was saying, structured is unstructured information. And I would say we keep on trying to improve it every day. We make little improvement, little improvement, little improvement. So, I mean, just to give you an idea, initially, if say a company released an IP report, it would be on our website. It would take us say a month because we used to do it in batches and stuff like that. Now we've brought down a month to maybe 2 days or 1 day. And our plan is very soon to bring it down to maybe 6 to 8 hours. Yeah.
You just talked about you have added a lot of code in that process to reduce down the efforts like to 30 days to 2 days. What all learnings in terms of coding and other stuff did you learn while building Tijori?
So actually coding, I'm not the correct person to give you any
Okay.
learnings, but I mean, so first of all, you ask learnings, I mean, just about me, I'm not the type to sit and think about what happened and what I learned and stuff. So if you ask me what you learned, I have to actually sit and think what I learned. I'm not sure right now. But one thing for sure is that we thought early on that, we want to make something that's differentiated. So that bought us a lot of time, and you can imagine there were a lot of errors initially when we did it. So that gave us a lot of slack with other people. So I mean, my key learning is to just do things that are useful and differentiated.
Fantastic. So my next question is that what was your investing style? What is your investing style like in stock markets? What all criteria do you pick in a great company?
Yeah. So I mean, recently, whatever we've been made, most of the investments have been into Tijori. We are running it in that way. But if you talk about investment style, it's what you would expect out of a fundamental investing style. I mean, we don't want overly complicated companies. Uh, would say our time horizon is not forever, but it's not 1 year. I'm not looking to hold it for 50 years for sure, but it's definitely not 6 months or a year. It's 4 to 5 years. Uh, it should definitely have it should be explainable to someone, I think, in maybe 2 to 3 sentences. What the differentiator of that company should be explainable to someone in, I think, 2 to 3 sentences. If you are going to end up hand waving and have to draw diagrams on the board and stuff to tell someone what the differentiator is, then maybe it's not understood enough. And I think the key thing is any company, like whether it's a big public company or our company, it needs to be understood so that you can boil it down to say 2 to 3 variables. Until you have boiled it down to 2 to 3 variables, like, for this company, these are the only 2 to 3 things that actually matter. Till then, I would say that it's not understood well enough. So I'll just give you an example. Like I was talking to my friend who runs a chain of ice cream parlors here in Bangalore. It's pretty well-known one. Not sure if I should name it because I didn't ask him about talking about this. So I mean, it's similar to the QSR model. I mean, but so I was telling him that people look at rent per square feet and how much capex per store, and which is important. And if you're making ice cream, what are the cocoa prices going to be 6 months from now, and vanilla prices 6 months from now, milk prices 6 months from now. How is it moving? How is the supply chain changing and stuff like that? And he was like, no. He's like, dude, the only thing that matters for him and his family in running that store is how many ice creams will I sell 5 years from now? And how much, and are the same people coming back again, or am I getting new people? That's the only thing that matters to him. So his reasoning was that the rents and the raw material prices will all get washed over. Once will increase, once will decrease. Some will be passed on, some won't be passed on. And if you're holding for a long time, they will be washed over. But the only thing that matters to him is the volumes of ice cream he's selling, and are his customers repeatedly coming back? That's the only thing that matters to him. I mean, that's just an example, but I would say that in many companies if you do first level of analysis, they're like, oh my God, there are so many moving parts. But to really get it down to, you know what, no, there are just these 2, 3 things and the other things will cancel each other out is, I would say, important to get at. And I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong. That's just what we try to get at.
Fantastic, fantastic, sir. Another question that I have is, what all the features can we see in Tijori in coming months and years?
Yeah, sure. So one thing is, not sure how many people know, but Tijori is a completely paid product right now. So we are going to release a free tier very soon. So very soon means I think in the next 3-4 days, where you can add companies to your watch list and get onto your timeline and get a news feed of all those companies, and you can do that for free. So I mean that's not a feature, but that's one thing. Stuff that we're working on now in the pipeline are 2, 3, 4 things. So one is we are working on letting users set price alerts. So tell me when HDFC Bank share price goes below 1450 or whatever. The second thing that we are working on is letting users backtest on fundamental data. So if you write a filter like companies with ROC greater than 20% and 3-year average ROE greater than 10% and market cap less than whatever, you'd want to backtest and see if you had screened for those companies 10 years back, what was the median performance of those companies 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So you're kind of working on backtesting on fundamental filters, more complicated than we thought it would be, but we've got into it now. What else? There quite a few parallel threads. So we have a portfolio feature. We're working on your holdings getting auto updated and stuff like that. Apart from that, we're always adding new sectors, new metrics, new data on each company, new indices. So I mean, those things keep happening. So yeah.
Fantastic, sir. What all challenges did you face while building Tijori Finance? Like you talked about that 30 days thing that you brought it down to 2 days. What all other things did you face?
So, I mean, for us, the biggest challenge was that initially we didn't even know if it can be done. So we were still like, oh, can it be done? Is it even possible? Should we just stop trying? Or I would say that is the biggest challenge, like to actually, I mean, if you go to Tijori now, it's a lot of white space and it looks simple in the front end, like, oh, the details are there, but to actually do it was quite a task. And when we were initially doing it, we didn't know whether we could do it. So I would say that is the biggest challenge.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on this podcast, sir. I think it's also a fantastic episode to learn the whole journey of Tijori. Thank you.
No issue. Thanks. Best of luck.
Thank you.